Alrighty, guys. Good morning. It is currently 9:14 a.m. at the time of recording this, and I waited. I'm doing this now and not at 11 because overnight we've had some massive changes here. So, as always, we still have Carlotta and Tropical Depression 4. Nothing on that has changed. No new disturbances in the Atlantic, and we have our two areas here in the Eastern Pacific that we really need to watch here. So, yeah, let's get on into it. The public advisory 4A for Tropical Depression 4 hasn't issued at 8, not 8 p.m., 8 a.m. here. So let's go in and see. So this is Tropical Depression 4 Intermediate Advisory number 4A. Some the NWS National Hurricane Center, obviously. The depression passing over western Cuba expected to become a tropical storm later today or tonight and strengthen over the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. Summary of the 8 a.m. advisory. Its location is 22.2 north, 81.5 west. It's about 75 miles south of Laredo, Cuba. It's about 170 miles south of Key West, Florida. Maximum sustained winds are near 30 miles an hour. Its movement is west-northwest at 16 miles an hour. Excuse me. I literally just woke up as well. So it's going to be a minute before I'm fully awake. And the minimum central pressure is 1009 millibars. There have not been any changes with this advisory in terms of watches and warnings. Summary of watches and warnings in effect. This is why I'm recording this video now. A hurricane watch is in effect for Aquila River to Yankeetown. If you guys live in that area that I just called out, you guys need to be taking your hurricane precautions now or getting out. This is likely only going to be a Category 1 at landfall. I'm not expecting any rapid intensification like we saw with Brill about a month ago. But better be safe than sorry. The Gulf of Mexico is very warm right now. It's extremely warm. So if Brill stalls out for even a minute, we're going to have massive problems on the Florida coast. And I have Radar Omega pulled up here to show you guys all the watches and warnings that are currently in effect here. And we'll cover that once I'm done. Tropical storm warning is in effect for the Dry Tortugas, west coast of the Florida Peninsula from south of Yankeetown to East Cape Sable. Tropical storm watch is in effect for the Florida Keys south of the Channel 5 bridge, west of the Gila River to the Ochlockonee River. Storm surge watch is in effect for Bonita Beach northward to the Gila River, including Tampa Bay and Charlotte Harbor. Tropical storm warning means that tropical storm conditions are expected somewhere within the warning area within 36 hours. A hurricane watch means that hurricane conditions are possible within the watch area. A watch is typically issued 48 hours before the anticipated first occurrence of tropical storm force winds, conditions that make outside preparations difficult or dangerous. Tropical storm watch means that tropical storm conditions are possible within the watch area, generally within 48 hours. A storm surge watch means that there is the possibility of life-threatening inundation from rising water moving inland from the coastline in the indicated locations during the next 48 hours. For a complete depiction of areas at risk, please see the National Weather Service Storm Surge Watch Warning graphic available at hurricanes.gov. Interests elsewhere in Florida and the southeastern coast of the United States should monitor the progress of the system. Additional watches and warnings will likely be required for a portion of this area later today. For storm information specific to your area, please let me redo that. For storm information specific to your area, including possible inland watches and warnings, please monitor products issued by your local National Weather Service forecast office. And as always, I add this on to that. Stay tuned to hurricanes.gov so you can get the most recent information about Tropical Depression 4, soon to be Tropical Storm Debbie. Oh, gosh. Now the discussion and outlook. At 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the center of Tropical Depression 4 was located near latitude 22.2 north, longitude 81.5 west. The depression is veering toward the west-northwest near 16 miles an hour. Turn toward the northwest is forecast today, followed by northward motion on Sunday, then a slower northeastward motion Sunday night and Monday. On the forecast track, the center of the depression will move across western Cuba this morning and then move over the eastern Gulf of Mexico later today and Sunday, reaching the Florida coast late Sunday or Monday. Let's see. I don't think I can work on Monday, so we might have a live stream for the landfall. I do not work on Monday. So I'm more than likely going to have a live stream watching the landfall of soon to be Debbie. Maximum sustained winds are near 30 miles an hour with higher gusts. Strengthening is forecast during the next couple of days, and the depression is expected to become a tropical storm later today and continue strengthening over the eastern Gulf of Mexico through the weekend. The minimum central pressure, based on surface observations, oh my gosh. I apologize here. The estimated minimum central pressure based on surface observations from Cuba is 1,009 millibars. Key messages affecting land. Wind. Hurricane conditions are possible in the hurricane watch area by Sunday night. Tropical storm conditions possible earlier on Sunday. Tropical storm conditions are expected to spread northward over the tropical storm warning areas beginning later today and continuing through Sunday. Tropical storm conditions are possible in the watch area in the Florida Keys later today or tonight, and in the Florida Panhandle by late Sunday. Storm surge. The combination of storm surge and tide will cause normally dry areas near the coast to be flooded by rising waters moving inland from the shoreline. The water could reach the falling heights above ground somewhere in the indicated areas if the peak surge occurs at the time of high tide. Chassahowitzka, Florida to Gila River, Florida, 3 to 5 feet. Bonita Beach, Florida to Chassahowitzka, Florida, 2 to 4 feet. Tampa Bay, 2 to 4 feet. Charlotte Harbor, 2 to 4 feet. Rainfall. Tropical Depression 4 is expected to produce rainfall totals of 5 to 10 inches, with maximum rainfall totals up to 15 inches across portions of Florida and along the southeast U.S. coast this weekend through Thursday morning. This rainfall may result in areas of localized considerable flash and urban flooding, with isolated river flooding possible. For Cuba, rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches with localized higher amounts will be possible through today. This may result in isolated to scattered areas of flooding. I'm not going to read through that again. Tornadoes. A tornado or two is possible across the Florida Keys and the western Florida Peninsula tonight through Sunday morning. Surf. Swells generated by the depression are expected to affect much of the Gulf Coast of Florida tonight through Monday and along the southeast U.S. coast early next week. These swells are likely to cause life-threatening surf and rip current conditions. Please consult products from your local weather office. Then next complete advisories at 11 a.m. We will have a video up covering that. So now what I want to do is jump on over to Radar Omega to show you guys all the watches and warnings that are currently in effect right now. I'm going to turn on the cone. So this is the current look at Tropical Depression 4. This is the center of the system right there. Let me change the color of my pen. Go with a nice light blue. That's the center of the system right there. And as you can see here, it's supposed to take a turn up like that. And after it emerges off the coastline, it is expected to parallel the southeast coast. Do not be surprised if one of these two icons here turn into a yellow icon with the Cat 1 symbol. Especially this one right up here. I would not be surprised at all if that gets upgraded to a hurricane next couple of days here. But the yellow icons that you're seeing is tropical storm warning. The pink is a tropical storm watch. And this purple, I'm going to turn off the cone for now. This purple, bright pink, whatever you would like to call it, is our hurricane warning area, hurricane watch area. So, as I said, do not be surprised if this icon right here becomes a Cat 1 symbol. I'm also not going to be surprised if the Hurricane Watch gets expanded for Tallahassee, like this area right here, and then down here as well. I'm not going to be surprised at all if that happens. So, hold on, we still have Carlotta to talk about here. And I want to see if they've changed the peak. 40 knot, 50 knot, 60 knot. They're still expecting a 60 knot peak out of the storm, which is a little surprising. Which I was honestly not expecting to see a cat. I'm honestly expecting a Category 1 system out of this storm. Especially if what the models are showing happens. Alright, now to talk about Carlotta. It has strengthened a bit more. It's up to a 90-mile-per-hour hurricane here. It's a high-end Category 1 system right now. Once again, we're not going to cover this for long, just because of the fact that it isn't hitting anything. It won't really be a main issue for anything. No watch or warnings. At 645 miles west southwest of the southern tip of the Baja California Peninsula, moving west at 14 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure is 979 millibars. No watches or warnings. Slight strengthening is possible today, but weakening should begin by tonight. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 10 miles. Swells generated by Carlotta along the coast of west central mainland Mexico and southern Baja California Peninsula are gradually subsiding. So that's all it is with that storm right there. So now we will take a look at the imagery for Tropical Depression 4 here. Oh, yeah. There's a lot more thunderstorm convection that's happened overnight. If you remember last night when we posted the video, there wasn't really much there. The storm was a bare bone system. Now we are seeing that we have a lot more showers and thunderstorms that have blown up here. Take a look at the visible high res satellite. And you can see that we do have a circulation roughly in this area. Now, it might be a little down south, but mostly I think it is roughly about right in this area. Let's check the Dover. Yeah, pretty much the same thing here. We're not really seeing much of anything. Now you guys know what time it is. We'll take a look at the model. This is the 60 run. So we have Tropical Depression 4 right there. We have a wave emerging off of Africa. That's GFS wants a 992 system making landfall. Emerges off the southeastern coast. Against the rapidly intensifying into 975 millibar storm. Then goes off. Then the no, it isn't. That's this thing. GFS wants another system in the Gulf. Rapidly intensifies to a major hurricane, makes landfall in Houston area. Now, I will say, this is about 270 miles out. So, this is almost guaranteed not to happen. But in the off chance that it does, you need to be prepared. Just in case. Then, other than that, nothing really happens in Atlantic. We have a low pressure there, but doesn't have any convection. Same with this thing over here. Now let's take a look in the Eastern Pacific. I'll let all the runs load here. So we have Carlotta. She's going to start weakening soon. We have a Fujiwara effect happen here with this system. That goes off and then weakens. We have probably at most a tropical depression that forms here. Then weakens. Then nothing else really in the Eastern Pacific after that rogue system over here. Other than that, nothing really happens. But there's one last thing I want to check out before we end this video off, and that's going to be the model intensity guidance here for Tropical Depression 4. Most of the models still have it peaking somewhere in the 40, 45 knot area. I personally don't think that's the case. I personally think it's going to be. I think this ship is calling it best here. I think it's going to be a mid range Cat 1 when it makes landfall. Which I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I feel like that's going to be the case here. Heck, even the UK model thinks it's going to be a tropical storm, which is very rare to see that. Like, extremely rare. You can really tell where the landfalls are and when it emerges onto land again. Because we have a landfall right about here, followed by a weakening trend on land, then goes over the Atlantic again, then roughly about here is where it's inland again. So once again, if you're in any of these watches here or warnings, heed advice by your local officials. Evacuate if possible. I know in the Keys you guys are definitely running out of time. But if you can evacuate, please get out before Tropical Depression 4, soon to be Debbie, comes ashore. But with that being said, that'll do it for me here. I'll have another update out in about an hour or so in time recording for the 11 a.m. advisory here. But until then, guys, it's an excited Hats, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.